Tonight, I will share 3 true Airbnb horror stories. Travelers who learned the scariest part of a stranger's house is not the key under the mat. It is who else already has one. You have stepped into the workshop of the misery tailor. The duplicate key. I booked a basement apartment that looked harmless. Warm lamp, clean couch, a fake fern with glossy leaves. The host's name was Ellie. Sunflower profile, picture turtle. 5 perfect stars. The reviews sounded alike. 2 alike, like they had been written by one hand with a few words swapped. My flight landed late. I found the lockbox under the port. Cold metal, stiff hinge. The code worked on the second try. Inside, the air was heavy, wet laundry and drywall dust. Not a bad smell, just a smell that clung. Above the couch was the same photo from the listing. Not similar. The same angle, same shadow. Even the tiny wrinkle in the throw pillow matched. It felt like the room had been forced to match the photo, not the other way around. The bedroom was small, queen bed, pressed tight to the wall. 1 drawer in the nightstand. Inside the drawer were 3 things: a tissue pack, a restaurant matchbook, a receipt from today, 2 coffees and a croissant, paid with a card that was not mine. I texted Ellie. All good. Checked in. Typing dots. Gone. Back again. A reply. Great. The downstairs camera will show it's locked. Just a safety thing. Downstairs camera. Not door camera. Downstairs. I slid the bolt anyway. Metal on metal. A thin comfort. At 2:11 in the morning, the dryer upstairs started. A steady drum. A thump. Then another thump. Someone shifting a basket. A door clicked above the basement stairs. Soft feet. Socks on wood. No voice. Just listening. I opened the thermostat app to give my hands a job. The temperature showed 67. Padlock icon. I turned to dial. The app buzzed in my palm. Post override. From the vent came a half-second of water. Faucet on. Faucet off. A test of the pipe. A test of me. At 2:24, the bathroom fan came on by itself. 10 seconds. Off. 10 seconds. On again. The light beneath the bathroom door pulsed. A slow eye. Open tight. Close. I packed my bag. Leave. That was the plan. Simple. Clean. Leave. When I pulled the dresser out to grab my charger, it slid too easily, like it had been slid many times. The baseboard behind it had a neat cut. A rectangle with a finger notch, painted to match the wall. I lifted the panel. Dust sighed. A thin crawl space waited on the other side, high enough to slide a body through. The smell was old copper and cold wood. A phone cable ran upward through a drilled knot, up toward the kitchen. The other end held a cheap power bank, taped in blue. The tape read, "Downstairs," in block letters. There are fears that arrive with noise. There are fears that arrive with silence. This one came with silence. It filled my mouth and sat there. I put the panel back, moved the dresser into place. It left a pale scrape on the floor where it had scraped before. I locked the bedroom door. It was not a real lock in a real sense. It felt like one. Sometimes that is enough. Sometimes it is not. I called the police non-emergency line. I spoke quietly, words like access panel. My phone buzzed while I explained. It was Ellie. Everything okay? She could see me. or she could see the result of me. Either way, she knew. I did not reply. I put on my shoes without tying them. I opened the basement door. The bolt at the top of the stairs sat sideways. Not locked, just posed. From a distance, you would think it was set. Up close, you would see it was performative. The kitchen looked like a showroom. Bowl of lemons. Cookbook open to welcome brunch. Clock stuck at 10:10. Shadows too neat. Edges too careful. The front door had 2 deadbolts. The bottom turned. The top would not. I opened a hall closet for a back exit. Towels, extra pillows, and a small router with a sticker. Basement eye. A cable disappeared through a hole in the wall. Drilled, sanded, painted. The socked feet returned. Slow glide, unhurried. I stepped into the hall where I could be seen. Leaving is not the same as hiding. A woman in a hoodie came around the corner. Calm face, empty laundry basket in her hands. Eyes that glanced once toward the closet. Just once. A reflex. "Did you see the house rules?" she asked. Soft voice, like a roommate, like this was normal. "I am leaving," I said. She smiled like I had made a social mistake. "You don't have to. People love this place." Behind her sat a stack of lockboxes. 3 wine, nested. Codes for different guests. Keys for different guests. Guests who would never meet. 15 minutes later, an officer arrived. No hoodie, no lemons, no router. The kitchen looked a little less staged, a little more ordinary. The landlord upstairs said he did not know his tenant was subletting. He kept repeating it, like a script. The officer listened. He watched my face. He said, "Sir, find a hotel." He said it kindly. He said it in a way that meant, "You are lucky to be leaving." I left my review blank. I did not want to warn strangers. I wanted the listing to die. A week later, a new basement appeared 2 neighborhoods over. Same couch, same fern, same sunflower picture. The host had a new name, Ina.D. Different hand, same stitches. Story 2. The 7 degrees rain tapping the old window frame. A deep building hum that felt like sleeping machinery. My boyfriend booked a weekend in a renovated mill. Exposed brick, big windows, coffee that needed a photo or it would not taste right. The door had a smart lock, 4-digit code you could change from the app. The listing said, "Make it your own." Cute line, until it wasn't. Night 1, 3 a.m. The thermostat slid to 60. We woke shivering. I warmed it to 67, turned off the schedule. The screen chirped. Host settings restored. I told myself it would settle. It did not. Night 2, 3 a.m. Again. 10:60. Not 2:58. Not 3:13. Down. Like a shift change. I messaged the host. "So weird," she wrote. 3 exclamation points. I can bump it from my side. Warm air returned. The brick wall sweated a little, like the building was breathing on us. We left for coffee. Came back. Our new door code did not work. The app said, "Admin change applied." The original code worked on the first try. The one issued at booking. Inside, a wet ring on the counter had shifted. A mug had sat there. It had moved a little. It had been moved by a hand that did not belong to us. I opened closets. Empty. Except for shoebox with tape that read Sonic. It weighed almost nothing. Inside was a speaker nestled in foam. On the bottom was a label. Vent A3. We checked above the bedroom doorway. Real smoke detector. No camera. And the air return drill we found sticky residue in a perfect rectangle. 2 small screws loose inside like teeth in a pocket. At 3 a.m., again, the temperature fell. I watched it fall on my phone. The slider moved by itself. A slow, patient drag. Down 7 degrees. My phone was on airplane mode. It did not matter. From the vent came footsteps. Not in our unit. On a floor that did not belong to us. Toe. Creak. 2 steps. Dot. Dot. 2 steps. Dot. Kato. Listening for our position. Listening for our breathing. I lifted the dial back up. The footsteps stopped. The deadbolt made a tiny electric whine. Not opening. Just testing. Pressure on the latch. A finger on a closed eye. I called the host. No answer. I called the installer number on the router sticker. A tired man picked up. He said, landlords like to curate the guest experience. Heating schedules, codes, audio scenes for open houses. He said, our unit should not have audio active for guest bookings. He asked me to repeat the part about footsteps. He put me on hold. The silence on a phone can feel like a person who is deciding what to say next. It felt like that. My boyfriend packed. We were at the door when the keypad chirped. The app displayed admin present. Peephole glowed. The glow changed. A small white flare, like a phone screen held close to glass. A woman used a syrup voice through the door. Everything okay? I can help you with the thermostat. The tone matched her messages. All exclamation points. I will come in for a second, she said. No, I said. Thank you. Wrong tries beeped. Wrong tries. The hall light under the door went dark, then bright. Someone had stood in front of it, then stepped away. We backed into the bedroom with a metal coat rack. It was not a plan. It was something to hold. At 3:11, the deadbolt clicked. Unlocked. They tuned. The handle did not turn. Whoever was out there knew the codes. They knew the rhythm. They did not know us. We left and drove to a hotel that smelled like old lemons and pool water. We slept under a heavy blanket and did not sleep well. In the morning, the listing was under review. A week later, a new listing appeared in the same building with the same walls. A new host, a new smile. We love curating your stay. The sentence read like a hand on the back of your neck. Warm, unwanted. Sometimes I wake at 3, my palm on the bedroom wall, listening for footsteps in the vents. I do not hear any. Fear does not need sound. It knows the schedule. Story 3. The sister property. 2 hours before check-in came a message. Tiny hiccup. A pipe burst. I have a sister property 10 minutes away. You will love it. Discount code. A new address. Photos of a yellow house with ivy and a chalkboard that said, Welcome, Sam. My name. The rideshare driver talked until the last street. Then he got quiet. Old trees leaned over the road. Houses sat at normal distances. This one sat too far back, like it had chosen to step away from its neighbors. The porch light was on. Every other window was dark. No lockbox. The key was under a heavy rubber mat. It did not lift easily. I had to wedge my fingers under the edge and pry. The key was warm. That is a detail I wish I could forget. Inside, the living room matched the photos with suspicious precision. Same book open on the table. Same blanket folded to the same crease. There was no hearth. The book displayed a chapter about hearths anyway. The curtains were bolted to the wall at the bottom. Hotel style. No movement. The bedroom door had a hook and eye on the hallway side. at eye level. The bathroom window had been painted shut, even strokes, no drips. Someone had taken their time sealing it tight. I told myself the host was careful. I told myself not to embarrass myself. I opened the fridge to find a reason to leave that. Sounded better than a feeling. On the top shelf sat a water bottle with a printed label, "Welcome, Sam." There was a bag of lemon wedges. There was an ice tray with 2 cubes missing from the center. 2, not the edges, the center, like someone had plucked them with 2 fingers. The Wi-Fi card said, "Sister Property 5 Egg." The password said, "Welcome Homeon." I joined. Notifications poured in. Work messages. Spam thought. A missed call from my mother. Then a new message from the host. "Everything okay? I can come by and show you the laundry if you want. Thanks, no need," I wrote, typing dots. Gone. Outside, the gutter clicked. The sound a gutter makes when weight leans into it, or when a ladder settles. Headlights slowed outside. I pressed my thumb to the curtain seam. Light poured through a thread's width. The car idled, moved on. The hallway behind me felt crowded, even though I was alone. In the bathroom, the smoke detector had a tiny green light. It moved when I moved. I took it down. Real detector. No camera. I put it back and laughed without humor. At 12:41, the power blinked. Not a full outage. A relay. Off. Undone. The fridge hummed back to life. The router clicked. Somewhere inside the wall, a small motor started, then steadied. My phone lost Wi-Fi. When it rejoined, a new network appeared. "Welcome home, guest." My signal dropped to 1 bar even though I stood 2 feet from the router. I turned Wi-Fi off on my phone. The air felt different, quieter in an unnatural way. I walked to the front door. The chain lock had been installed wrong. The mount was there. The catch plate was not. 2 clean holes where screws should be. Embarrassment can dress itself as bravery. I wanted proof, so I opened the freezer to see if anything could pass as a reason. Inside was a single round ice mold, filled, not frozen through. Someone had poured water into it not long before I arrived. A fingerprint sat under the curve like a fossil, perfect and pale. I placed my palm on the kitchen wall. The faint vibration was not the fridge. Deeper, tight, on a timer. I followed it to a narrow door between kitchen and bedroom. "Laundry," the host had said. Fresh paint. A cheap key lock. The key on the counter did not fit. At the bottom edge, a soft light glowed. Not bright. Blue phone light. Asleep. Waiting. I called a ride with emergency pickup. The little car crawled across the map. I stood at the door and spoke too loudly. "I am leaving now." The motor in the wall stopped. The glow under the door went dark. Silence pressed its ear to the wood. The key stuck in the front lock. Then turned. I stepped onto the porch. My ride turned the corner. Headlights washed the yard. In that clean flood, I saw footprints in the soft mud. Fresh, large strides, tracking from the side fence toward the back of the house. Tracking fast. The driver looked once at the house. He shook his head. I got in. We pulled away. 2 blocks down, I glanced back. A man in a gray hoodie ran from the side yard and stopped where the car had been, hands on hips, like a person who missed a bus by seconds. From the hotel, I wrote the host a careful paragraph about unexpected maintenance, a refund request. She replied at once. "So sorry. Totally understand. I will process that now." In the morning, the listing was gone. Not suspended, deleted. My original booking, the one with the burst pipe, was still live. It had a new 5-star review from someone named Sam, posted that morning. I think about the narrow door with the blue light under it. I think about the timed motor that went quiet when it knew it had been noticed. I think about the warm tea. I do not think about what was on the other side of that door, not when I want to sleep. If a stranger's house feels perfectly staged, remember this: someone rehearsed it. Rehearsals do not stop when you arrive. Another pattern complete, another nightmare sewn shut. Until next time, I will be waiting with needle and thread